Hey, it's your boy DJ Wolf here. Hey, I got a couple things on my mind. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me a little bit clearer than normal. Well, anyway, here we go. First item up for bids. This political race currently called the New Hampshire primary. I see that the rumor mill has it that Donald Trump may take the New Hampshire primary. It's supposed to be one of the most important ones in the GOP. Ted Cruz is still up in the running as well. I also see Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders running as well on their Democratic tickets, respectfully. Hillary Clinton was campaigning over supposedly she was in Flint yesterday to address the issue about the water problem in Flint. Talking about how much it was horrible and all that. And I'm like, I didn't hear Hillary Clinton talking about making any specific donations. I didn't hear anybody, my thing is, and the Republicans, of course, they never talk about issues. They talk about each other. Well, look at your record. No, look at your record. Man, fuck that. We have problems. There are problems that need to seriously be addressed. Okay? This is the one thing that these politicians need to understand. There are people out there called voters. Those voters are based on actual people, not just numbers, not just statistics, not just by color or by race or by creed, but they're real people. You know what I mean? With real issues and real problems. And nobody got time to be playing no fucking political football anymore. Things are serious out here. Racism is at an all-time high. Crime is at an all-time high. Unemployment in the black community is ridiculously out of control as usual. I mean, and it's the, and meanwhile, I see politicians playing the same old football games. And this is one of the reasons why, and I actually heard a couple of fellow YouTubers that I know of, a couple of them I've actually talked to, I'll leave nameless, who says, that's crazy for you not want to vote. I don't know if that was an answer to my response or not. That was a response to my comment about me not wanting to go vote, because I don't think that any of the politicians take it seriously, and I don't. That's just my take on it. I would never tell anybody that they don't have a right to vote. You have a right. You have a right to voice your opinion. And I'm going to still say this. Voting is a right. You have a right in this country to vote. All right? As a citizen of this country, you have every right to vote. You have a right to be able to say what's on your mind based on your voting right. But my thing is, I think the candidates are more about power. I think they're all. Be it Bush, be it Cruz, be it Trump, be it Sanders or Clinton. People want to see results. People are tired of talking anymore. I'm definitely tired of talking. I've been a registered voter since I was 18. In other words, I've been voting for the last 35 years almost. And I'm sick of talk. We hear a lot of talk and no real results. It's time for candidates to really get serious about really being there for the people. And you do need a bipartisan group to really get things done. And stop talking about what you want to do. And stop playing this fucking political football and get together as a real team and be about helping people in this country and not talk this goofy ass shit that you talk about all the goddamn time. It pisses me off. You know? It's always Republicans versus Democrats. You need to have some bipartisanship that's really going to be about helping people. Because it makes no sense, especially in the case with Flint. Because right now they're playing major political football. Everybody's playing a blame game. Get down to fix the problem. What really, it still pisses me off that the governor of Michigan refuses to replace the pipes. How can you sit there and call yourself a man of the law as a governor of the state of Michigan and not wanting to replace the pipes, not wanting to, to address the issue head on? It boggles my mind. It really does. It really does. I mean, that's a damn shame. People, thousands and thousands of people are suffering in that part of Michigan with lead water. It's genocide. It is. It's a modern day genocide to allow you to say, I'm not going to do it. You had no intention of doing it. And like people said, why isn't him and his staff, well, mainly him though, because he kind of called the shots on it, are up on charges? Why not? The state should be up on charges, including the government. And the people who decide, well, we're not going to put money into it, should be up on charges right now. There's no reason why for them not to be. It makes no sense. I'm still appalled by it. You had kids suffering behind that. It's. I could not. Oh man, the action over here. Wow. I could not, in my right mind, as an adult man, and a believer in God, if I was governor of Michigan, I could not allow that. I'd have to try to make things happen. Fundraisers, campaign, whatever it took. But this guy just said right up front, I heard him. He was not, I repeat, he was not going to replace the pipes. He said that. Yeah. And for him to say that, he just don't give a fuck. Excuse my French, is the truth. He don't give a fuck. That's some cold shit. I bet you was this goddamn family suffering from that mess. I guarantee the pipes would be replaced within 2 days, if not a week. They would definitely be replaced. But, it doesn't affect his family. It doesn't affect his bottom line. He's not going to do anything about it. Yeah, I'm suffering. That's fucked up. Yeah, I'm on the rant, and I'm cursing and all, but because I just can't understand. And all of these manufacturers that people have worked under in those companies and stuff around that area, And then I heard Michael Moore is in the hospital. I think he got a touch of pneumonia. I've been praying for him too, man, because I am a huge Michael Moore fan. I love the guy. I love what he does. He's about the business of about being there for the people, man. And we need to pray for him. I mean, seriously though, man. Michael Moore needs all the help he can get on that. He really does. And that's his hometown. And wow, I don't understand it. Well, I'm going to stay on that. I'm going to stay on this. I really am. Because I would not want my children, nieces, nephews, and grandchildren to suffer from this bullshit. Real talk. So I'm going to stay on that. And I'm going to continue to stay on it. And I did create a hashtag. It might have already been out there, but I never saw it out there before I created it. Clean water is life. That's my hashtag. I'm going to do one other one. I got another rant. I talked about it earlier. It's about Cam Newton and Peyton Manning and Super Bowl 50. I didn't get into talking about the commercials much because really the commercials, for the most part, were pretty awful. They were. These commercials were some of the worst commercials I've ever seen in the Super Bowl. And I was just asking somebody today, I was like, what happened to the classic commercials from Budweiser? Those were something, I mean, I think about it, they were, but they were some of the most endearing, heartfelt, heartwarming commercials ever. They weren't even, they had a couple of funny ones though. I think it was one that happened one time where the horse farted in the girl's face. That was pretty funny. I think that was a Budweiser commercial. But the last one they did about the guy who walked to the class, El Paso, ran to him and let the guy give him a hug. That was pretty touching, man. That was unforgettable. Wow. But and they did a commercial, but the commercial was just a quick blurb about they're growing and all of that. That was pretty much it. They kind of just ran through it. It just wasn't, it had no real meaning to it. But there was one commercial was extremely weird. The puppy baby monkey. That was like one of the weirdest commercials I have ever seen. It was an oddly weird commercial. It was for a soft drink, and it was just weird. And then there was one. Well, actually, I think I brought that up about the George Weasley thing when the Apartments.com commercial. And of course, I mentioned it. Lil Wayne Weezy, his nickname is Weezy. Looked like he was part of. He was on the silly side of the game. Silly being from The Color Purple, character played by Whoopi Goldberg. The Color Purple, with the hat they had on and everything. It did kind of remind you of that. So, but that's another whole story. But the reason why I brought up Cam Newton at this point, again, I want to talk about it. I hadn't saw a video post of him this morning, and I actually saw it again on one of the websites. And man, was he pissed. I don't know if he was pissed at himself and the team, pissed that he lost, or was he pissed because of the fact he might just threw the game? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that he did or did not, but it does make you wonder because Cam Newton was playing like a demon possessed for most of the season. All of a sudden, he gets to the Super Bowl and he act like he forgot how to play football. That's just my take on that. It really did. It appeared that he just forgot how to play football. Because there were moments when Cam Newton was wide open and he could have ran about at least 10 yards easily. And times where he just dropped the ball, didn't even attempt to recover the ball. It was just weird, really weird. So I don't know. I think personally, maybe he was shell shocked that he couldn't believe he was in the Super Bowl. But if you're out there mentally, you gotta think it's just another game, which it really was. But it was another game you had to take seriously, like any other game you were playing up to that point. That's why I was surprised that they lost the way they did, 24-10. I think he was relying heavily on the defense, but there's no doubt he was because he didn't do what I thought he was going to do offensively. And really, Peyton Manning didn't do any better job than he did. This game, in my opinion, was Cam Newton's for the taking. It was his for the taking. The game was his for the taking, especially early on in the first quarter. I just don't really the first half, really, because it was 13-7. I mean, really? Come on, man. In the third quarter, hell, I think there was only 3 points scored in the entire third quarter. You really could have exploded then. And that's when Denver actually, I think they scored a field goal. Yeah, they did. They scored a field goal in the third quarter. So I'm like, why the hell? And it was 16-7 then. So I'm like, well, why the hell didn't you take advantage of that, dude? Really, just why? Why did you take advantage of that? That's my only question about that. And you could have really opened up. Just don't understand that. Just don't understand that at all. The one time I think that they've actually had a chance to really get out there and do something, they didn't. I could probably understand in the case of Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning, his arm ain't what it used to be and all that, and he had to rely on the defense. But Cam Newton, being 26, shouldn't have to have relied on the defense all that much, to be honest. Considering he was a younger quarterback, he was a younger, virile quarterback that actually had the spunk to be able to do what he needed to do, and he played just as bad as Peyton Manning did in the Super Bowl, and yet Peyton Manning still won. I don't know. I got more questions than answers about this Super Bowl, because this Super Bowl was terrible all the way around. The halftime show wasn't really impressive with Beyonce. Hey. Bruno Mars and the guy from Coldplay. I mean, that was okay. The music wasn't bad, but just wasn't. I don't know. I've seen better halftime Super Bowl shows. It wasn't the worst. I can tell you right now. I've seen some when I was a kid that were just god awfully boring. They really didn't start amping up the Super Bowl halftime shows in like the 80s. Prior to that, it was just marching bands. And then somebody gave us a great idea, hey, let's make it a halftime concert show. But even this one wasn't that great. It was just I would have at least thought they would have had more, acts. At least 2-3 more. Considering that this was the 50th anniversary. And I was like, But the whole, that's what surprised me. The 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl, I expected a lot more. I really did. It just wasn't the grandiose Super Bowl that I thought it was going to be after 50 years. It just wasn't even close. And that's what really shocked me. It shocked me a lot. I was like, wow. Really? So, in any case, you got any opinions or questions or comments or whatever you think, give me a holler. DJ Wolf. Oh man, what happened going on here? My effects are froze on me. What? Well, question and answers, questions or comments or opinions or whatever you got. Whatever you want to comment on, let me know. DJ Wolf, I'm at over here at gmail.com. Also, for all here on Twitter, because honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to think right now. I'm just, like I said, again, I'm totally disappointed by the outcome of the Super Bowl. I'm totally disappointed by the Super Bowl commercials and the halftime show. For this supposedly was supposed to be the memorable Super Bowl. It sucked. It's DJ Wolf. I got more to say about it on the back burner, guys. I'll